Hi, and welcome back to your 7-day Property Preservation Success Kit. This is day 3 of your learning module. And just to get started, I'm Carolette Wright. I am your property preservation consultant. I'm here to help you reach all your needs in the property preservation industry. Now, over the past couple of days, we talked about a lot of information, and I'm sure there's a lot more that you may have questions about or that you feel that you may want more content on. And I am going through as fast as I can all the information that has been filtering through the website. So with that being said, just kind of to recap what we talked about how to get your business started, how important it is to make sure you're organized and that you have the right documents in place, and being prepared for before you submit your applications and your solicitation of emails to the various property preservation companies. Now you're ready to kind of really dig into your business. Also, we talked about having the internal tools that you need to have in this industry. So moving on, take some time and debrief for a second. And I want to spend a couple moments answering some questions that come up quite frequently, so that you all have a little bit of a base or a foundation to have a broader view of what the industry is all about. So let's get started. Some of the common questions that I have been asked is, how do you turn a profit in my business? So a lot of business owners are struggling with building their business. One thing that I've noticed is when you start any business, there's going to be a learning curve because you're going from an employee mindset to an entrepreneur mindset, and it is two totally different worlds. And you're trying to accommodate a newfound career path with owning your own business. And I tell you, you learn so much when you're actually responsible for everything. One thing that I see a lot is a lot of new business owners, they have the confidence and the vigor and the passion to do well, but they fail to realize that there are some skill sets that are there that need more development, and that is the business development piece and generating a profit and affecting that bottom line. So really quick, some things that I just jotted down to help answer this question is, when you start purchasing your supplies and your tools, like your lock boxes, your padlocks, your antifreeze, whatever it may be, make sure you are getting it at the lowest cost possible. One mistake I made in my business was, for one, I did not find a low enough supplier for example, for the lock boxes. So I may purchase them online and just buy them as needed. That was a big mistake, because what would happen would be that I would get a work order at the last minute and not have enough supplies. So then going to your local Walmart or Home Depot to purchase items like lot boxes are crazy ridiculous. They are hugely expensive. I mean, if I remember correctly from the time of purchase a couple years ago, a lot box was like $40, maybe even $50 at Walmart or Home Depot. And that just eats up your profit, because you are more than likely getting paid, $45, $50 just to put the lock box on. So you're not making any profit. But if you were to go online to certain websites and purchase it at the wholesale price, I found a company called roperlocks.com, and I'm in no way affiliated with them, but I'm just so excited that I found them. But I got lock boxes for $10, and that increased my margin. Now I'm making $40, $60, $70 in profit now just for installing that lock box that would have cost me 4-5 times more had I purchased it at a local retail store. So make sure you make those wise decisions and don't purchase things retail. Always, always, always find the wholesale price and buy things in bulk. If you can't afford to buy, 30 or 40 pieces of tools or equipment, then definitely, order 5 or 6 enough for the week when you're first starting out. And as you continue to grow, you want to build that inventory based on the number of properties you're trending toward completing each week. So if you see yourself, after you've been in the industry for a few months, you're doing 5 to 10 properties per week, you want to make sure you have about 10 to 15 lot boxes on hand, just in case. And then once your supply gets to 5, that should be a trigger to purchase some more. Or if your trigger is 2 or 3, give yourself enough time to get the supply in, because one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to have a property that has to be turned over really quick. You don't have the supplies, and then you're rushing off to Walmart, spending your profit and your hard-earned money on a highly inflated product that you could have got for much cheaper. So keep that in mind, low-cost suppliers. Also, when you are doing these properties, you do not want to have to keep returning over and over again to them. The most important thing that you can gain is make sure you thoroughly read your work orders. Make sure you understand exactly what the client is asking to be complete on these work orders. Because one of the worst things you could do is complete a property, be 30 miles outside of that property, have to go back the next day on your own expense. There's nothing wrong with going back to a property, but not when it's at your cost. So is you have to call the client in the parking lot and make sure you have thoroughly checked off all items, or make sure you print off a to-do checklist, or just go back and comb everything, making sure you have all the right photos before, during, and after, making sure you have the property is compliant. We'll get into that a little bit more later, but it's so important that you don't waste your time and your money going back to properties that you could have done your due diligence on the first time. That will eat into your profit. The third thing I would say to help your profit is you may need to adjust the way you pay. So if you are hiring people or working with employees or contractors or even other property preservation companies, when you're first getting started, you do not want to have to use your money out of your account to pay them, and you're still waiting on getting paid yourself. I mean, it just depends on your business. If you have cash flow, if you have the capital to pay your people, then fine. But if you're just starting out in this industry and you are trying to build your bank account, then you may want to do what you see the other companies do. Because if you do anything other, then you may not survive. So you'll see regional property preservation companies, they'll invoice once a year. And that is just the industry standard. As frustrating as it may be to many of us in this industry, that's the way that it is. Now, I do know there is a lot of push to get this changed and to try to at least pay on a weekly basis. But the most important thing that is hindering that is incomplete work order submissions. So it's very important, if you're in this industry, to help it grow by making sure that you are thorough and that you are being the best business owner possible and being accountable for the properties you are submitting to your client and to these banks. It makes it hard for us to argue to have weekly or daily or as soon as the work is completed pay submission when there are things that are incomplete. So help us out in this industry. We need everyone's commitment, everyone's dedication and focus to making sure we are being thorough and we are being consistent on delivering results that are conducive to asking for more. So make sure that you do what you see others do when you're first starting out. If your companies are paying you 30 days invoice, then you may want to also invoice on a cycle the same way. Another key thing to think of is try to make sure you stagger your checks through the month. So you make sure you try to have at least